they're fine. I was wondering.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. Before we do personal appearances, we'll keep the tradition going. And Ryan, do you want to jump ahead and give us the update? Caitlin will do the same thing for you next if you want. So.
Okay, I will be pretty brief here. Good evening, President Olson and Commissioners. Ryan Ackerman here on behalf of the Service River Joint Board. Give you an update on flood protection as it relates to phases around Roosevelt Park. Not much to report in terms of physical construction because we haven't been doing much on that end of things, but do want to let you know that we have awarded several contracts. A couple of months ago, I was explaining how these projects were coming in much higher than engineering estimates. We rejected bids, subsequently rebid, had great interest and actual competition this time around. As a result, the low bid for phase MI7, $10 million lower than what it was in May. So the Joint Board has awarded that contract. That would be phase MI7E and phase MI7C. Those two are lumped into one. That was awarded to Wagner Construction. They've done other work for the Joint Board on projects very similar to this. We've got confidence in their abilities. We're in the process of scheduling the pre-construction meetings for that right now and kind of getting all the contracts and bonds in place. We do anticipate that activity is going to pick up in September, and we're going to be rolling in October. Okay, so that's kind of our anticipated sequence of events here over the next few weeks. In addition to the large contract awarded to Wagner, there were two additional building contracts or vertical construction contracts that were opened and awarded, both to the same contractor. Matson Construction was the low bidder on the concession stands, the Discovery Barn relocation, the Camel exhibit, and also the Magic City Express building and the new restrooms that'll be over by the pickleball courts. So Matson is on board, and we have scheduled some pre-construction meetings for those. I think they're happening Thursday of this week, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll be in close coordination with the Park District team as we start to coordinate some of these details moving forward here. But I guess good news, we were faced with kind of a money problem here earlier this year, but going through that rebid process, we were able to realize about $10 million in savings. So we are going to be moving forward. There will be some additional zoo exhibits that will come in front of you. We're not going to be bidding those anytime real soon, but those are going to be on your docket at some point in the next few months to get your approval on that. So we're working pretty regularly with Jeff and his team to design some of those features and get those things right before we put them out for bid. In addition, phase MI6, that would be the downtown piece of flood protection that goes from basically Main Street over to the Roosevelt Park pool. That is in the rebidding process right now. The bids on that were also rejected. We're opening bids on that on September 10th. So we'll hopefully get better competition on that one this time around and get some favorable numbers so that we can ultimately award that contract prior to the end of the year here. So not going to go through the drone flight here, not much to report. New known concerns. Access road, to our knowledge, is serving what an access road should be doing. To our knowledge, the pre-construction or the pre-consolidation pile is secure with the fence. I've been working with the team on ancillary items, marketing boards, pool cleaners, pool screening, stuff like that, and covering those costs. So we're taking care of no concerns. I've already kind of covered a little bit of the upcoming schedule here. Nothing tangible on the construction front. We're basically going to be contracting in meetings for the next few weeks, and then ultimately in October, you can expect some wheels to start turning on the site. So no current disruptions that are known. And with that, I take any questions.
I got. So you're talking about MI6. You're just bidding out for that.
Does things have to work? Does MI6 have to get done before MI7 has to get done, or would that affect this project if the bids are? You know what I'm saying?
Yep. President Olson and Commissioner Schmidt. Not necessarily. So, I mean, ultimately, for the flood protection to function, all these different pieces need to be in place. But in terms of the sequencing, actually, there are elements of MI7 that need to be in place before MI6 can be constructed. One of those elements being there's a sanitary sewer that originates over by like where the greenhouses are at, goes under the river and across to the west. So that piece has to get installed, and then it gets hooked onto by the MI6 contractor. Installed. So actually, portions of 7 have to go first in terms of the overall sequence.
Okay. And that first when you showed about the bids, you said there's going to be more bids coming with some of the exhibits, but how many more was that first diagram shows that pretty much the most of the bids that are to get this going?
Yeah, so we would expect there to be one more bid package that is basically all of the exhibits. We'll very likely lump all those together to find good interest.
Okay.
Contract.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Do you anticipate taking down the bathroom near the pickleball? They're still up right now, right? Will that happen this fall still then?
Will happen this fall. And we'll coordinate dates certain the team so everybody knows when that demo is going to occur.
All right. Good. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate the time. We can jump to the indoor facility update. And Caitlin, JLG.
Just going to really testing my eye. Okay, so what's on the screen, it's 11 by 17 when you print it out, but just going over the pre-design that we had for exploring an indoor turf facility, being either in addition to the existing Mesa ice rinks or a standalone building next to it. So this has a project narrative of what we did. The project goals that came out of that was providing a space accessible to all community members to engage in recreation, provide indoor turf space for Minot's youth, recreation, and competitive groups year-round, expand Minot Park District programming to offer necessary and beneficial spaces for the Minot and surrounding regional communities, and boost economic development by providing a space to facilitate and host tournaments. And then next to that is the program, which is very, there's like only one change from what was presented last month. And that was just adding additional space within the shell for storage for the turf use, since there wasn't a lot of storage built in the original plan that was shown. Here are some case study images of what this indoor turf could look like. These ones are some fun ones that were actually taken at Sanford's open house. That is one of the projects that JLG did. So this shows inflatable golf targets, having the bouncy houses on there, and having a whole bunch of different user groups, besides having your programmed recreation for soccer, baseball, fast pitch.
So this is in Sioux Falls. Is this the sheet, the Sanford one?
I think this one was Fargo's.
Go back.
Yep.
So they utilize the hockey.
Yep. This one, the dasher boards, so then they can use it both ways.
Those are two different spaces.
Yes, these two are Fargo's, and then this one, I don't remember what this one was.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then here's the standalone floor plan. So if we just do an indoor turf box, that would be offer about 30,000 turf field. And then this has the cubby area for storage. It has its own vestibule. It's offset 160 feet so that you can future program this space as needed. And then there's elevator and stairs built in so that when we go to the second floor, there's 2 party rooms, a maintenance space, mechanical space, and then area to walk around the turf space. Or the turf would go column to column, but it shows some space there. And then we'll go back to the main level. This does include that 3-lane walking track that we talked about before. 2 smaller lanes, and then 1 wider lane that can be used for strollers or wheelchairs or adapted like a very great or to do a event. This is elevations of what that standalone building could look like in relation to the existing mesa, offset 160 feet there. We are looking at sloping the roof down towards the west. This allows for some clear story windows, which I'll show an interior rendering at the end. Shows a way to get some natural daylight into there and just more sunlight into that turf space. And then what we're looking at on the side here, as it's built into the hill, is having precast with reveals on it that would mimic a larger scaled masonry block. So similar to the masonry that you have on the existing facility, but just upsizing that and using a precast form for that, so we wouldn't have to lay masonry separate. And it's a insulated metal panel above it, which is what was used on the Pepsi rink. Option 2 shows if you were to shell in this space. We talked about before with, is it beneficial to shell in this space now, and that way you're not trying to squeeze a building in the future in between 2 buildings. And then this space could be programmed. It was brought up last meeting if you guys wanted to roll out a second turf, or it could just be a way to divvy up expenses and then fit it out later. This area adds additional about 10,000 square feet of space where you can use it for circulation. It moves the doors to the middle and then also has concessions and offers more restrooms. But the turf space essentially stays the same, and this does add additional storage to the north. And then this is what that looks like if you were to infill that space. It has a counter-sloping roof that ties into the existing facility, shows the same materials that precast on there. The fun part is the budget. So option 1, which would just be the standalone shell, based on precast insulated metal panel. We're holding a $2 million site work allowance, so we know that there's some grading concerns with the site. So we just put $2 million in there until like the next phase. We would really dive into how much parking needs to be added, how much site grading has to happen to make it a reality. And so with that, construction cost is just under $15 million for the standalone, is where we're estimating. This is very early on pre-design, plus we have escalation factored in so that it wouldn't be starting construction until 2026. And then we have 2.24 of soft costs. And so that's estimated at 15% of construction costs, but that covers professional fees, so paying the architects and engineers, any reimbursable expenses, any furniture, fixtures, and equipment, technology, security, security cameras, AV for party rooms if you're going to make them dual meeting purpose rooms, site survey, geotechnical report, special inspections and testing for construction, building permits, any utility fees, legal admin that you guys might want to include into the total project costs, and then if there was any like moving cost. Same for option 2. For the shell, we have escalation built in for a spring 2026 start. That one is estimated at $25 million to begin with. And then the soft costs increase because it's based on a 15% to 3.8 for a total project cost just around $29 million. And it's early on, so these numbers can be flexed. There's ways to VE and stuff further on to design, but we just wanted to make sure that that number encompassed everything. So depending on how you guys went about getting the funds, you didn't come up empty-handed come bid day. For short, I should say. And then the really fun part is the renderings. So here we have the exterior look from the southwest, looking at a standalone building. We incorporated a gray insulated metal panel, a maroon accent at the entry, sticking with anodized aluminum that matches the storefront on the rest of the Mesa facility. And then this is that larger scale CMU block that I was talking about, where it's actually precast, but the reveals in it to make it mimic masonry to fit in with the rest of the facility. And then this is what it could look like interior wise. There's opportunities if you guys were to do advertising, having the field open. You can see that Mesa maroon that's been switched for the branding incorporated. And then we also opened up with a glass railing at the south side, so that where that area of locker and cubbies, if you were to use that as a spectator spot, it's more wheelchair friendly to see over that. And we could incorporate that in other parts too, just for cost savings. We only showed it at the one side for now. And that shows divider curtains in here too. And then this is where you can see those like Cal wall trends, that extra daylight coming in with those on the list. Any questions?
What did you say the turf size would end up being?
So this one, the way that we have it sized is 30,000 square feet, and that was, I'm gonna have to go up to the screen here.
I can't even read.
Like 225 something. I'll have to double check the plan.
Similar to the Elk River.
Yeah, you're like right in the middle of that sheet, so you can see that some are double or even more, twice the capacity. And those are ones, they have one open arena and you can just see fields all the way along, and then they divide it with divider curtains. And then you can see some of them are a lot smaller, like that 5,000, 6,000. Yeah.
Even with glass.
What so the 29 million, that does not include any, no piping, nothing for ice, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's just standalone.
It's like a sand floor.
Exactly. And then you show the renderings with, with and without, like the entrance. So if we were to go with the standalone, because when you put them together, you show the entrance to moving over. So what if we would add on? Would we be tearing things out? You know what I'm saying? Redoing the entrance then, or
can do that systematically. So like the entrance that you have, you just take that and relocate it over at the new entrance. Keep it the same size.
okay.
So then all you do is like the plated metal panel or some type of accent material. So it'd be minimal cost change to enclose that opening and move that same.
It wouldn't be that exorbitant.
Yeah, because Fargo Glass can easily out glass and change, customize all that storefront. So
yeah,
This size having like 2 dividers, so you could have 3 separate spaces. That optimal.
right now we're showing on the plan. So these rectangles right here are the size of 3 futsal fields. So you could have like 2 dividers in there, so that you'd have divided out like a soccer.
Like small size soccer.
Yep. That's what the Minot Soccer Association uses, is the 60 foot by 90 foot. And so that's what we based off of. But then you can see this square right here is a 90 foot by 90 foot. And that was the ideal for the Magic City baseball.
Yeah.
But they said that they could use anything from 60 to 90 feet because they would just adapt with it being indoor and more off season for like drills. And then this shows like batting cages over here would work. So you might end up having, depending on how you want to divide it out, you might actually have 3 divider curtains. You could divide the space in half, or you could put it in thirds. But the baseball groups, I mean, they'd just be happy, and fast pitch happy with anything, and they're like, yeah, just as long as we can throw the bases out. They didn't need any line work or anything like that. And then soccer said that they would get like a painting machine that it comes off, or it could depending on how it is. So nobody wanted like lines sewn in.
The height, a normal height of facility like this.
Yeah, so we tried to mimic it off of the Eck rink because when that had turf in it, that's they said that was about the right size for clearance. Obviously, they would like more, but that was what we did as a standing. And then with the sloped roof, you gain a little in there. They're still probably going to hit something.
Yeah. Any other questions for Caitlin? Good. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Do you
you.
want to add to
Yeah.
this now? Or
Yeah, I mean, Caitlin, you're okay to sit down.
Okay.
I'll let you stay in case we have a few more things. But yeah, so a few of the other things that we've been working on with this, I believe, directly underneath this, we have the operating costs, which Callan has been working on. So I'll probably pass it down to him so he can go through a few of those numbers that he came up with for that as well.
So I reached out to several people. Find people. I got a few responses. Basically, I got information from and kind of pulled that one apart basically. Cost us. I adding that process program that we have, and then I also tried using the Cameron Indoor Center, but using those. The revenue and operation on the salaries, that would be how we do guys and actual. So we need that fairly consistent.
that was going to be
Offset.
that would be my guess. Doesn't 120 seem really conservative? Only $10,000 a month. That's good math.
And we kind of looked at like our estimate.
Yeah. Oh, I get we don't want to go overboard on our estimate on revenue. But
Yeah, that's where I think I feel pretty as we other right.
Thank for Colin. You said you're comfortable with these, like these numbers are like, yeah, okay, we could handle this if we were to have this other revenue stream. And
Yep.
Yeah, and I think with this coming in where it is, assuming that we're only doing the turf building and looking at what a 15-year revenue bond would be, I think we'd be potentially able to up what we're doing in tax reduction. Well, wouldn't be huge dollar amounts, but there'd be a little more that I think we could do there. But then that also provides us a cushion if pricing comes in higher than what the estimates.
Based on the loan or?
Yes, this is standalone. Yep.
You work anything up with shelling out the other one, or is
I
that
haven't. Just quick thoughts is that we'd a little less than double. Utility, as you can see, utilities are the biggest one, and so trying to figure out how many additional staff and then utilities be there. Electric is the biggest one out of it.
But you did run some numbers as far as property tax savings if we were to do both the turf space and the Sheldon space.
Yes, just
Yes.
assuming basically just doubling operational expenses and looking at a revenue bump at that, and our property tax savings would drop significantly to maybe $1 million instead of the 3.5 to 4 that we'd be the other one. So our property and tax incentive would the shell space as well. Yep.
okay? Thanks for that. Appreciate it. All good with Kellen? Ellie, do you have?
Yep. And the only other update I have for you in regards to what we have on the agenda here for the indoor facility update is I've been working with Visit Minot on economic impact numbers. They have a software in place that helps with that. We're still working on those and getting those finalized, but we'll bring those to the September board meeting. And then in regards to ordinance committee, I can pass this on to Mike or Justin as well, but we did meet 2 weeks ago, I believe now, and I'm going to do a conference call with Pete this week just to kind of update and keep that moving forward. Timeline wise, as I see it, we would hope to bring you a draft of that ordinance to our September board meeting. Finalized is a tough word to say just because with what we have with the property tax elimination, but then we would have another update for you at the October board meeting. Then after that, we would have the election. We would have a special board meeting in between that election and the city council meeting to know which ordinance we were moving forward. We will have a ordinance as the Minot Park District that would push it forward to the city council. And then we would have the ordinance that we present at the city council and move forward from that. At that point, we would have an election date and work with city staff as well. So looking at the timeline, that's how I see it working out with plus or minus a few days in there. But I can pass it along to Justin or Mike or whatever, like to get an update on ordinance committee other than what I just shared.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to to add. I think just my understanding of the way that'll work is our ordinance going to the city, we're asking the city to, correct me if I'm wrong here, we're asking the city to modify their ordinance on the sales tax. And then if that were to be approved, us as a park district would have an ordinance internally how we use those funds. So as a board, we'd be governing that and setting that going forward. So it's not just we're getting this money, we're going to use it. We as a park board would have to then create an ordinance on how we're actually using that money. So I think after our last meeting, things are moving very well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think your timeline will be perfect and hopefully slide right into place.
Mike, you can concur with that?
So
Awesome.
And just a few things, unless anybody has any questions, just a few other things along those same lines when we talk about sales tax. This is the time of year when we start doing more presentations again to different community groups. I have been talking about this as we now have the fun pictures to show, and now we get to figure out how we pay for it. So it has been a big part of those presentations and conversations. I haven't got a ton of feedback, so sometimes I would say no news is good news, but you guys would probably certainly start getting some calls as we get it out there for more people. I do think now that we have the renderings, I would like to move forward with putting together a press release with those renderings and talking about the study and what we found with that, and at least mention our plan moving forward. As I think our roadmap has stayed the same, the timeline has just changed with the property tax elimination being on the ballot. But I think being out there, talking about it, getting people's eyes on it, and getting some of those questions, well, we still won't have all the answers because the ordinance will not be approved. I think getting the idea out there is important as we move forward. So just want to get your guys' thoughts on that. I don't know that we necessarily need a vote. Our vote from you guys will really be when that resolution is ready to pass and move forward with the city council. And at this point, that won't be until November after the election date. So, but if you guys have any thoughts or feelings on that, just let me know. But that's how I see us moving forward from this point anyways.
Commissioners, like that idea? I like it, and I like informing people what we're doing. Certainly talking about the property tax reduction. Whatever happens with the measure will happen. But if that fails, that we're coming right behind saying, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to be offering whatever it is, amount-wise. I think when I talk to people about it, they hear sales tax. And if they only hear that part of it, not real appetizing, and I don't blame them. But when you tell them the other part of it, the sales or the property tax reduction, it becomes way more appealing. So, information is good. So I like that idea. All right. Anything else on this topic? Caitlin, thanks for your guys' work. Appreciate it very much. All right. With that, we'll go to more personal appearances if there are any. Any personal appearances? All right, meeting minutes from a couple, right? July 16th, normal meeting, reorganization meeting, and special meetings.
I'll second that.
The 3 meetings or 4 meetings? Are you good with 4?
I'll second
the second?
four,
All right,
too.
perfect. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, bills of $863,512.57.
Move to approve.
Motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Discussion? Alan, you can call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Kirkhammer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes, salaries of $507,664.12.
Motion salaries.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Discussion? Any discussion? Call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Kirkhammer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. All right, Callan, anything on the financials you want to talk about?
Yeah. So we've run into worked with them a little. Trend built in. Have some more. As soon as I say that, I get more questions that they answer.
Any questions for Callan?
So, Callan, right now our credit card system is outside of RecTrack.
Kind of an integrated system track, but it's
But now RecTrack has their own, so we're looking to move to that. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Callan. Go to department reports, and Jared.
Park Board President, Commissioners, just a few updates to my submitted report. Jeff will give a little more detail on African Plains building. Just on the paving, as you can see, the South Auditorium parking lot is completed and striped. hopefully by the time you walk out of the meeting, it'll be opened up. And then tomorrow morning, we'll be closing off the rest of the north parking lot, so they'll continue to work on that. Hopefully that'll be done, within 2 to 3 weeks at the longest. And then Shields Complex, they'll be moving up there on Thursday of this week to start on that project. So we are in good shape on those paving projects by Bechtold. DL Barkey started last week at Bison Trail parking lot. So we are in full swing of our paving projects and parking lot projects for Bison. So I will answer any questions to my submitted report, and I'll be back up later on a few other items.
Thanks, Jared. Any questions for Jared?
And then James, Troy, and Shannon are not here tonight, so I can try to answer anything on their reports if you have anything at this time.
Anything on that, guys? Maintenance, horticulture, forestry? All right, cool. Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Steve. Golf course.
Nothing really to add except that I'm going to have a meeting with the Varden and the Country Club to look at our tournament schedule for next year so we don't double up on dates if possible. Where I have a tournament and the Varden has a tournament with the Country Club, so we can not have all the golf courses tied up in one day. So probably have that in September sometime. We can see if we can look at our schedule for next year.
All right. Any questions for Steve? All right. Short timer. You're up. Congratulations, Mike.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to add to my report. As of October 28th, I will be retiring. 39 years with the Minot Park District. It's been a great run. I want to thank all you commissioners, upper management, all you foremen, everybody I worked with. I tell you what, it's been awesome. So thank you very much. You made it easy for me. Yeah, well, that's the problem.
That was left out.
Strategically.
Well, congratulations, Mike. I think when you talk to golfers around the state, Souris Valley always comes up as probably a steal of a deal, first off, right, for the quality course that it is. And you and your staff do great work, obviously. So congratulations. Any questions or anything for Mike, guys? All right. Thanks, Mike. Jeff.
One thing I've got to add is we did start our transition to fall hours today. So we'll be open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Going up through the end of September. As far as African Plains updates, there's a lot going on this week, and I'm having to get daily updates so I can update staff on where they can park, where they can't work back there. I think today we probably had 4 or 5 different trades all working in there, trying to work around each other, trying to get things done. But we've got a lot of the concrete poured. They should have the roof completed by the end of this week. Block layers started setting up yesterday, and they estimate they'll be able to complete the block work section that'll tie the 2 buildings together by the end of the week. Should be pouring concrete on Monday for the flooring that will go underneath the public area. That will be an area that'll go under the walkway that we can use for storage or other uses. But we've got a large portion of it going to be at least 6.5 feet high. So there's some nice spaces. We just got to figure out how we're going to use them. But it's coming along great. The building looks good. And hoping to start doing some behind the scenes stuff sometime in September with it.
All right.
Got any other questions?
Anything else for Jeff?
I do just have one addition to Jeff's report on the African Plains exhibit, just for more information for you guys as a board, as the bills are rolling in for this project, because as you can see, it's looking like a building and going to keep rolling here. And there are bills in the report that was sent out. We will be sending an invoice to GMZS in that amount of $450,000 for what they have committed to this project. So we can have that to pay out as the bills are coming in. So that's just more of a for your information for the board.
What was the total cost of this estimate to begin with?
The total 2.7
Yeah, and then
with the additional
with the addition,
costs.
it's just over 3, right? Or
Yeah.
maybe
Jared probably has it right in front of him here.
Yeah, Park Board President Commissioners, Rollax portion of this project was $2,725,525.99. Ackerman's fee on top of that was $200,064.45 for $2,910,317.30. As long as we have no change orders.
And the thought being here, we would get all the funds in so that we can get a completed project, have the funds. I mean, there's dollars raised, and then there was the $450 that was committed, thanks, by GMZS, right?
Yep.
Cool. Any questions on that? All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Jared.
Mesa.
Right, just I handed out my report, I guess, a month earlier than I said in my. Apologize, but I got the coaches and user groups to work a little faster for me. So I know I met with Brian Bauman on Friday, so we got that out. Looked through it. A couple highlights. We're gonna have well over 600 plus games between middle of September and the first part of June. So we'll talk about economic impact. We're gonna be doing really well. We got 12 tournaments this year, 6 through the Hockey Boosters. We have the West Region this year for high school, which is always a good one. We've got 2 private tournaments, and then we have 3 state tournaments that we haven't had a state tournament for 3 years now. 3 North Dakota Amateur Hockey state tournaments. The Junior Gold 19U will be a big one. That's kind of like I call it the Class B high school hockey for North Dakota Amateur Hockey, and then we've got a PVAA right as a squirt tournament. So that's going to be between the middle of February until the ice show. We're going to be basically every week. Good income and a lot of people come month. And then we got 3 movie skates scheduled October, November, and December. And then the Figure Skating Club has their big testing weekend in February, and then their annual in March. Carlos start reporting tomorrow, so we are off and ready to roll. So other than that, any questions you have?
Got to be pretty odd to go 3 years without a state tournament.
They have they're doing super tournaments now, so they need more than 4 rinks at some.
I gotcha.
So kind of readjusted it now, so we introduced those.
Bob, I see on May 29th, 2025, you're closed. You could work in 10 more games.
Sure, I find something, I will schedule it. So, and then we are also working. We're going to do it here this coming up next week or 2. But we ran into with the Pepsi ring coming out. We are going to do a paint the ice. We're going to put that in April before we take the EC rink out. A lot of the NHL rinks do it where they come and paint whatever on the ice. We're going to get that scheduled on the calendar for first part of April there before we take that out. I think it'll be kind of fun for the kids and families.
Yeah, like Bob said, a bunch of NHL rinks do, and it's kind of fun. Bring it here to Minot.
Cool. Any questions for Bob? All right. Thanks, Bob. James, Lucian, and Tom.
Yeah, as far as the auditorium, we are done with stripping and sealing the main wood floor and all the halls in the main arena, so we're ready to go for the season. And then up at the complex, we did host the women's State 2 and State 4 rec softball tournaments. Adult softball completely ended with some makeup games last week. And we are taking registration for co-ed softball currently, and that registration closes Sunday. That's what I have for my report.
Thanks, Tom. Anything for Tom? Yeah. Ann?
Basically, we're transitioning now from summer into fall. We still have a couple weeks left at the pool. Finish up on Labor Day with our annual Soggy Doggy event. That's popular. We have a couple summer movies left, one makeup that was rained out. And then right after Labor Day, we also start our adult fall volleyball. And this week I'll be taking stuff out to girls volleyball, youth cross country. A lot of stuff coming up for the fall. I'm just finishing up with. Before we know it, it'll be the pumpkin walk.
It's true. So, any questions for Ann? Thanks, Ann. Appreciate it. And Mark, tennis.
Racket sports. We finished our summer camps. We had 8 weeks of camps. In terms of numbers, our numbers were up over the last few years, which is great. And then in terms of the product, I think that we've inspired a whole new generation of kids, which is good, with a lot of little kids. So it's great for the Park District. This week, Friday and Saturday, we're hosting at Hammond the high school round robin, which is the kickoff for the high school teams, which is a big deal. Then Saturday, they'll be indoors at Cameron, so we're getting prepared for that. On the pickleball side, our leagues are going really well, and we're in our last session of three sessions throughout the summer. And then September 14th and 15th at Roosevelt, we have Independence Pickleball Tournament, which is exciting for us at the Park District. Looking forward to the fall, and we'll get Cameron all spruced up. I mentioned that this morning. We're getting that all kind of fixed up the best we can, so we'll have a good kickoff early October. And the U.S. Open starts this week.
We handle like at Hammond, there's a lot of Minot High signage. Now there's Minot North as well.
Yes.
Is that something that's going to be an issue, you think, or do we work through that? I mean, I know that like Mesa is going to have the same type of thing.
So what Perry's alluding to is Minot North and Minot High have to share Hammond. There's 10 courts. And
the building.
Right, a building. Minot North has a little storage shed that they're using, and I think they're happy with that. And so they're kind of using courts on the east, and Minot High is using courts on the west. And I think it's been fine. It's been fine. The branding and, Minot North is kind of cool. They have their own uniforms and they're out there. So I think it's been really, really received well, and I think everybody's happy. It shouldn't be a problem.
Good. Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Move on to new business. Roosevelt Park Pool Filtration System. Wants to deliver that great news.
All right. Park Board President, Commissioners, a couple meetings ago, you gave us permission to move forward with A&E firm E2S to do an estimate on the Roosevelt Pool filtration system, piping, and heating system. Kind of with all the issues we had at startup this year, and some things that we found out through the startup and the beginning of the season. Thought it was very, very, very important to get this done. So what we've done so far is we have an estimate for construction cost range. Low end estimate is $786,870 to a high end of $1,203,570 for construction cost. And then if you add in total cost range to include construction, A&E, contingencies, anything like that, the low end would be $953,120 to a high end of $1,369,820. One thing with that estimate, or in this estimate, we have built in about a 5% contingency with this estimate to try to, handle anything that we haven't thought of in this right now. The only thing it doesn't have in here is if with the new filtration system, boiler, and all that, if we need to build a new filter building, and that is a possibility with the size of some of the new equipment. And our equipment's 50 years old, so there has been changes to it. So I would feel comfortable saying approximately $1.5 million for this project to go next well, when we see fit. Again, next steps would be to actually put this out there and get it out for a bid to see where it is. This would more than likely have some very big impacts on 2025 pool season. Because if getting into the piping and things like that, it would probably be pretty tough to get it done from thaw to opening like we normally would. So we would just have to be prepared for messaging that as this project goes. But it was a real struggle getting the pool open this year. A lot of stress and extra time from staff, and if we don't do something soon, we'll be rolling the dice if our pool will start up next year.
You guys will have your time for comments too. I just reiterate what Jared's saying is, this is part of those conversations when we've been talking about maintenance and being proactive rather than being reactive. And as Jared talked about, this spring was day by day basis if that pool was going to be opened. And not only is that, impactful to our budget because we're trying to figure out what it is, but it also puts a lot of stress on our staff at a time when we're trying to get everything else open at the same time. So after this, we'll have further meetings to talk about how this gets done and the timeline and the process. And I'll pass it down to Callan as well, because another note of information, this would be a bond that we would move forward with. And because of property tax being on the ballot, that affects how that bond would work as well. So I'll let Callan talk about that a little bit more, being that his area of expertise.
Yeah, so just in conversations with our bonding agent, the normal bond that we would go down, which would be a GO structure bond, if property tax reform passes, it just is not an option anymore. And so we would need to be looking at setting up something basically now to get it in the works before that passes, or waiting and seeing what happens. And then we still have an ability to bond, but it would be more of the revenue structured bond, which is usually going to be a 1 to 2% increase on the interest that we'd be. So I guess we take direction from you if you want me to get the ball rolling on that. And we'd have to structure something that wouldn't have a payment until 26, so the interest in 25 gets capitalized into the bond for 26 payment. But up to you guys on how you would like to proceed.
Folks, what do we think?
Isn't this part of MI7?
That's what I thought.
No? Okay.
Could you just absolutely like, whoops.
I mean, my feelings on this is it's one of those things that has to be done. I mean, it's 50 years old, you guys said the structure is. I mean, it's going to fall upon this board to remedy that. And the one thing I like about us moving forward quick also is if we do have to shut down the pool, which is not the best scenario, but if we have to, it's going to be during the construction, what's going on there. And it kind of goes with what's going on in the park right now. Rather than trying to get this Band-Aids on for 2 to 3 years down the road, then having new construction going on. I think, it's all being done at the same time and it's something that we have to get done. So, my feelings are that we have to pretty much move forward on this.
If we don't do it and it goes down next summer, we lose 2 seasons. And I think that's something we should do. You're absolutely right on the construction timing of get it done next summer. We have no choice. We want to have a pool. And if it's 50 years old, you're just playing with dynamite. Open. So then we could schedule and we could work with our staff and get it ready and get it done next summer, all in one. And then mud work proceeds as well and we can move forward. I'd really hate to see losing 2 seasons. It'd be a bad deal. So I'd be in favor of moving.
Alan, on the financial side, what would be our best option, in your opinion?
I think it probably makes the most sense just to go now. I think at the dollar amount this came in, I think we could probably look at doing a bond that would fix this, as well as look at the Mesa roof and just roll it into one project and get the funding secured and get that taken care of next year. Then you're not risking that funding source going away as and having to look at a revenue bond in the 25. It's essentially going to be the same thing. It's just we'll start the process earlier. So
What kind of impact will that have on our 2026 budget then?
we'll have to. It's kind of going to be at that dollar amount. It's going to be the amount I kind of expected. It's just we won't have the auditorium roof taken care of. So that would be a project that just gets pushed down a year or two. So I think it's something we can address in the 26 budget without a huge impact. But we just will, yeah, like I said, one project that we'll need to push off.
Okay. So our initial plan was to budget the Mesa roof and the auditorium roof in 2026.
Was to do them in 25 as a part of a bond that would be paid in 26.
Gotcha.
Okay.
There would be, Ryan, on like there's all that work going on at the pool that doesn't affect work that would be going on flood control, right? I mean, they can work in conjunction, and there will be, after what's happened recently, like a lot of work around the pool area now next summer, right? I mean, yeah. Okay. So is it something that we need to take action on right now? Is it something we need to have a special meeting for? Is it something, what do we do? Because it sounds like the consensus is we want to get rolling.
Well, I think at this point, we would have to have a special meeting between now and our September board meeting to get those resolutions passed in order to get the bond process going. And we will continue to have meetings with AE2S to talk about exactly what this entails and if they can kind of give us a timeline and once we kind of keep moving forward with this.
Yeah, Park Board President Commissioners, I feel with AE2S, the work they've done up to this point, you know, if we stay with them to complete this project, they would be able to get things together, you know, fairly quickly to get this out for bid. And in the pool industry right now, there's not many installers out there, so the sooner we get things out, the better it is for us.
So we wouldn't need a motion, just Perry would just, our president would just direct you to move forward with it at this point in time, or do we need a motion?
Callan, what are you thinking? Do you want a motion
Probably
to
should
move
have a
forward?
motion
Okay.
for me to go down bonding route.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to have Callan go down the bonding route.
Motion and second. Any discussion? I guess I'll just say, I always go down this route. I think this is even just another example of why I like where we're going with sales tax option. This is a project that has to be done right now. Without that option, it's 100% on the backs of taxpayers in mind. We can get this other revenue stream. This is a good example of using people that come and visit Minot to help alleviate some of these costs for our taxpayers. Because I mean, this isn't like a pretty project that we just want to do. I mean, this is a necessity, absolutely has to happen. So it stinks, but it's good to get it done. Any other discussion? You can call the roll.
Loveday.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Hammer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. And then we will have another probably special meeting.
Yeah,
we
we'll
need to do. I mean, do we want to schedule something now, or do we want to?
we'll probably have to
Yeah,
kind
I'll
of
have to just get with our bond attorney, and he'll have to put together all the resolutions and everything. So once I have those, we can get something set up.
Then you
Once
guys
I have a time,
we'll reach out to you.
Can work on that
Yep.
and find
Yep.
something. Okay. All
The
right.
reason we want to do it before our next board meeting is just timeliness.
timeline. We
Okay.
have to.
Gotcha.
Yep, that's just how it kind of works out. Yep.
Makes sense.
Okay. All right. We can go to old business, and I think we're to number 3, user rates. And Jared.
Park Board President Commissioners, we've discussed our 2025 rate increases a few different times now. The only things that changed from what was discussed at our last meeting at our budget meeting. What you requested was the increase the Service Valley Golf Course season pass rate slightly higher than what was proposed in the 5%. So the adult season pass would go from $720 to $780. And the senior and active military / guard rate would go from $630 to $680. And then rechecking everything with the adult hockey program for recreation. We had the wrong current rate. The current rate right now is $1,290. We put that into at roughly 5% at $1,355. So that is one correction from what we've reviewed in the past.
So Jared, it's going to $1,350.
The adult hockey rate would go from $1,290 to $1,355.
That's MASH hockey.
MASH hockey,
right?
Took over a few years ago.
Yeah.
The wishes of the board.
Just one more add
sorry,
again. Most of these there's some that we will implement right away this fall because they fall into 2 different calendar seasons. Most will go into effect January 1. The ICE users will go into effect June 1 of 2025. So a few little different dates, but.
Right. We're gonna need a motion, I'm sure.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed 2025 rates as presented.
And a second. Any other discussion or questions? Thanks everyone for working to put it all together. Good. And you said it had been 3 years, right, since we changed any of these?
Yeah. Yep, January 1 of 2022 is what.
Right, call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Kirkhammer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jared. Any other business to talk about? If not, let's go to the booze permits.
Motion to pull the alcohol permit.
Motion. And a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Ellie?
All right, so I've kind of already talked about the indoor turf facility and the sales tax research. Kind of the last note on that from me is I feel confident in the direction that we're moving in. I like getting that information out there, and really when we wrap it up in these conversations, at the end of the day, what we're doing, the ask for us is simple. It's to be able to get on the ballot and ask our community how we'd like to move forward. So if you guys get questions, please don't hesitate to contact me so we can keep that all moving forward. Like you talked about, presentations are certainly something that we've been doing a lot of in the last couple of weeks and will continue to as user groups get back together and pushing that message out there. Have we had a good couple days of meetings with the chamber and other user groups? I feel like in the last 2 months, those partnerships have really grown with those groups and just getting and sitting down at the table. And I really appreciate the fact that Parks is at the table in these conversations, especially with what we have moving forward and us all working together. So I just wanted to make note of that. NDRPA conference is in Watford, the 10th through the 12th of September. Just a reminder of our public hearing on September 17th at 5:30 for our budget. Another note, the Bobcat Company nationwide had a grant opportunity for Parks and Rec facilities for $100,000. We got word of it about 48 hours before it was due, and we're kind of scrambling on what we would put it towards. And I received a call from the Minot Soccer Association, and it was a really good conversation, and they had asked if we would work together with them and for an application to get put together. So they did put an application forward, the Optimist Soccer Complex, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think it was a huge step in the right direction. I really appreciate that communication from them. So that was a nice surprise. And then just a thank you to the staff. This summer and especially fall comes with challenges, and we've had some changeover in staffing, and especially when kids start going back to school, we don't really like to talk about, well, we're low on staff, but back to school is an issue for us. We hire a lot of college kids throughout our facilities, whether it's, umpires, concessions, front end staff at the zoo. The pool is a huge, that age group. So I just really appreciate the fact that it's challenging and there are hiccups, but our staff, they just run with it and they figure it out and they keep our facilities open, which means a lot of long hours for the managers and especially the department heads sitting at the table today. So we still, I believe, deliver very well to our community at a time when we don't have a lot of our part-time people. So thank you guys. And I know we still have a couple weeks left of summer, and then Bob, as you mentioned, you got a few things coming up this winter at the Mesa. So I appreciate you guys. We all appreciate you guys. So thank you for that. And that's all I have.
Ellie, any questions for Ellie? Anything?
The grant with soccer,
Mm-hmm.
that's through Bobcat, you said?
Yep.
And what is there? Is there anything where? What's the grant for? I mean, are we?
For what they're looking at is improvement in the drainage area, just because we know we have issues with water over there, so that's a huge portion of it. They did also mention in the graph that it is host to more than just soccer events and improvements possibly with the walking trails and things like that as well. So I was very impressed with the application and the phone call and the communication with them. So I thank that group for that. And taking the initiative, because we would like to say that we know about every grant that's available out there, and unfortunately that's just not the case. So when a user group takes the initiative to contact us and want to partner with us, I very much appreciate that. Mm-hmm.
Anything else for Ellie? Right. Ellie, commissioners' reports.
Just congratulations, Mike. Like Perry said earlier, that the Service Valley Golf Course is known around the state as being, one of the great tracks to play, and all the work that you've done. I'm sure there'll be more to come at your last meeting, but congratulations on the retirement. Troy's not here, but just, if you could reiterate to him is that my son's neighborhood went through the Dutch elm disease removal, and pretty tight neighborhood. So I was sitting out there talking to individuals and kind of how did things go? And it was just, to hear the people down there, from the communication when they're first noticed, notified of the Dutch elm disease and how it's going to the end of it, what they did for cleanup, heard nothing but great things. So, Troy and the staff did a great job on that. It was, what most of our staff does all the time. So just wanted to say thanks to him on that. That's it.
I don't think I have anything to report. Thank you.
Justin?
Just, I guess we already talked about the ordinance committee, and that's moving along. So I guess be interested to be a busy couple months here probably, but getting excited for that to see how that all plays out. So, and congratulations, Mike. Wish I was retiring.
You're going to do better than Mike has done in retirement. Mike's struggling. Your job. Then they won't be talking about that great track. Who takes the job? Clint.
600 games is amazing. I didn't know that. When we do, congratulations to you. When we do that across how busy we are in this park district, over 100,000. How many games in Corbett? You're going to have to go night games pretty soon. Thanks on how busy it is. I wonder if we couldn't use some of these numbers in part of our PR with our program and selling the indoor field house. I mean, we are busy. We serve a lot of people, hundreds of thousands. And I think we should look at that a little closer and see how we can incorporate some of that. And Mike, same congratulations. I played several courses in Idaho, this public course in Idaho this week up in fall. They have a shorter season, about end of May up through September. Their season ticket's $960. Course was very comparable. The greens were not nearly as nice as the first. And that's a compliment to you. Some of the area courses were 99 plus the cart, over $100. This is a bargain on a really nice golf and public, so I think you're doing a great job. You got it right. I think you've had it right a lot longer than the greens are amazing, which is the most important thing in golf, in my mind. So good job there. That's all.
First off, my phone went off during this meeting, so I'll find myself. It was a meeting. It was a reminder to go to this meeting, but I had set it at 8 o'clock, so I was even wrong with what I did there. Just an update. I had a Milla Vista Park, not exactly highly used, small park that we have. Had a constituent reach out last week about like there's kind of a group in that area, neighborhood, inquiring about trying to install pickleball. Only big enough probably for one in that park. So I've talked to them a little bit, kind of explained kind of how we operate, and I think we'll just try and meeting set with a couple people just to understand what all would go into that. So not saying anything's going to happen there, but we're starting that process. Talked to him, appreciated him reaching out and just asking about it, and it's good to see that there are people who make the most of our parks. Great asset. Thanks to everyone, and that's all I have. So entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion. And a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll move on to the foundation meeting. Any personal appearances? Seeing none, go to the meeting minutes from the meeting and the reorganization.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of all those meetings.
Got a motion? Second. And a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we have numerous bills. $15,471.32. About them at all, or they're all zoo related?
The first two,
Yep,
I can let Callan talk about it. Yep.
Yeah, first two are part of the African Plains project, and then the remaining three are Mesa projects that we approved doing a couple months back.
Cash out of the foundation. They're paying like rural act first one. Park district or
Correct. Yep. Yeah, the rest will be direct to vendor.
Make a motion to pay the bills of $913,471.32.
motion. Is there a second? And a second. Any discussion, questions? Discussion? You can call the roll.
Hubda.
Yes.
Hammer.
Yes.
Kirkhammer. Schmidt.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes. And the,
Nothing to add.
questions for Colin on that? Any new business? Any other business? Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
You can have the second. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great